There we go. Hello everybody, welcome to Bitcoin Daily. 9 a.m. European time on the dollar, sometimes. How you doing everybody? Hope you're doing well. It is nice weather today. It is very sunny, so there is that. Bitcoin did pump yesterday like 3% or something like that. There are definitely bullish signs, but we're also gonna see you know, what might, you know, pull us a little bit back before the next move towards upside. That said, I got something very interesting to show you on the chart. On this chart exactly, and I think you're gonna find it interesting. That means that the price of Bitcoin on the next pump won't go above 107k. So I think it's interesting. That said, how you doing guys? Thomas Lian from Klofta, Bull, Solana man, Solana. Call Crypto, how you doing man? Peter, what's up? I bought a dip, nice. Now we're gonna have a bigger dip. Sorry about that. How you doing guys? Let's go to the daily time frame over here. So we're gonna talk a little bit about what's happening on the chart right now. As you can see, yesterday we had a very nice bounce from the midline on the dollar. From the midline, very nice bounce. This is actually a little bit bullish, and it's also good that, you know, it's not a big bounce, it's a nice small bounce, which is very good. We still got a lower lows and stuff like that on the chart, so the trend is still, you know, towards downside. Still nothing broken, still everything going, you know, slowly, you know, reversing and stuff like that. But and you know, we are still in the bigger downtrend over here. Not much has actually changed. If you go to Ethereum Bitcoin chart up here, it looks like it's curving a little bit here towards downside. So maybe you know, there is hopium for Ethereum that it's gonna outperform Bitcoin eventually. And Bitcoin dominance is again, you know, slowly again, you know, failing to go higher up here. So it looks like it wants to break again towards the downside over here. Right now we are looking not only to break the trend back towards downside, we're also looking to break the lows over here and then to dump towards downside up here. But the dominance is actually looking quite weak, to tell you the truth. Even though yesterday we had a 3% pump, you know, it did not do very much. So altcoin season is gonna come very soon. We gotta check it out. That's a big cup and handle. I buy that one too. Nice. When altcoin season soon guys. Altcoin season, as soon as this dominance starts breaking towards downside over here, it's pretty much altcoin season. And when that happens, we're gonna have major rallies on everything, and it's pretty much gonna be over. Once that happens, one dominance actually drops towards downside over here, and altcoins pump, it's pretty much over. It's pretty much game over, and you know, hopefully you made it by then. That said, when that's gonna happen, a little bit unsure about that. Now, before we actually do anything else, and I show you some very interesting statistics on Bitcoin chart, I want to show you that, you know, right now we are doing very nicely. There are a lot of people, and I mean all of the people are drawing this line like this over here. It is some kind of trend, technically speaking. It is some kind of trend over here that we are bouncing off the trend, but this is not actually the trend. The trend that I'm looking at least, you know, the channel I'm looking at is this over here. Whether this is a, you know, inverse head and shoulders pattern up here being, you know, made or not, that kind of depends. That means that, you know, on the neckline over here somewhere, you know, once that breaks, we're going to go towards upside. I'm a little bit unsure whether this is a inverse head and shoulders pattern, because this move towards downside inside this head and shoulders pattern is a little bit, you know, shady. It's not that low, it's not that big, so, you know, I wouldn't be looking at this as any kind of head and shoulders pattern. But the fact that we are bouncing off of the midline, which was actually kind of expected, it's actually very good. If you look at the moving averages over here, you'll see that we got a bullish engulfing candle above the 10 moving average. We didn't break the 20 moving average, but at least we got above the 10 moving average over here. Now, a couple of days ago, the Burin 107, I'll take it. A couple of days ago, how you doing, man? How you doing? Good morning. A couple of days ago, Burin said we are talking about bearish engulfing candles, And I said that there is no problem with this bearish engulfing candle because this bearish engulfing candle did not break the 10 moving average over here. Oftentimes when you get a bearish engulfing candles, you can see up here that, you know, this was a bearish engulfing candle. Oftentimes when you have these bearish engulfing candles, and you break some kind of moving average, that's actually very, very bad, at least from my experience. So the fact that we are just having bearish engulfing candle into nothing over here, it really isn't that bearish. And I also showed one example over here. If you go way back here in 2000 and when was that? Over here in 2016, you'll see also that over here there was also a big, bearish, big move towards the upside, bearish engulfing candle, and just, after that a bullish engulfing candle. Because these bearish engulfing candles does not mean anything unless you actually break something of importance. And it pulled back, but it didn't break anything of importance. That said, the same thing is happening up here. We are pulling back, but nothing of importance is actually being broken. So if you go over here, there is a little bit, the thing that we did on the daily time frame up here, we had a bullish engulfing candle, but we did break something important, and that's that we came back above this 10 moving average, which I actually very, very like. So bullish engulfing candle above the 10 moving average, which is actually very nice. But we still haven't broken the 20 moving average over here, and we still got high and lower high and still lower high. So the trend is still towards the downside. Nothing is changed, but there is definitely bullishness on the charts. There is definitely bullishness on the charts, but we are still majorly inside the downtrend towards the downside. Now the way I see actually this playing out over here, could we pull back again towards the downside, over here get rejected and again do another dip and then towards the upside? I mean, definitely can. So how this part over here is going to play out, it's a little bit hard to say, because it can zigzag up here for a while. So this can go for another month or something like this. Right now we are on right now it's the what's the 10th of May. So maybe it's gonna go for another 10 another week or two or something like that, zigzag sideways up here before something happens up here. But majorly we are looking still towards the upside. So Bitcoin, we are bullish on Bitcoin. If you go and look at a 4-hourly time frame up here, you'll see that this trend over here broke towards the downside. We have moved towards the downside. This trend over here right now broke. Right now we are having consolidation, where we're gonna do this move up here or just this move up here. It's a little bit shady, 50-50 I would say. The way I see it right now, if we just start breaking again towards the upside up here, that might be very, very bullish. On the other hand, if we start doing some kind of some kind of trend over here, we might start pulling back a little bit and then go towards the upside. Still looking for more moves towards the upside, and everything looks nice and dandy. And just like you just said up here, the dominance is actually looking very bearish. Over here it's failing to bounce off of the failing to bounce off of the support level. You'll see over here that we lost the support level, we came above it, but failing to bounce. The failing to bounce is actually very, very bullish. So the fact that we are going towards downside up here and trying to bounce up here, it's very bearish for us. Sorry, failing to bounce is very bearish. So once you get into the trend, you are failing to bounce. This is actually very bearish, so this should actually drop towards the downside. So it does look good. It is very, very close. And if you look at Ethereum chart, it's USDT chart over here, we are still in trend. Also, even on Ethereum chart up here, we got a lower lows, nothing has changed. We are still in the trend, and we are still doing this zigzag pattern up here, consolidating. So nothing nothing major is broken. There are no dumps, there are no pumps today. It's just a nice day. It is Friday, so it's sunny. Take off your shoes, socks, go out, feel the grass, and it's gonna be fine. Now, there is one thing that I want to show you right now, and I think it's very, very interesting. So let's go over here and let's do this chart up here. I mean, any chart is good. I'm gonna do this on the weekly time frame. Yeah, so if you remember, we talked about that every single dump is like 20% dump. So over here we had 22% dump. Over here we had 20% dump. Over here there was 21% dump. Over here there was 13% dump, and if you calculate from all the way from the top, it's like 20% dump. Over here right now we have a 23% dump. So dumps are pretty much in line with what we are expecting, 20% dumps and stuff like that. So everything is working nicely. Now, pumps are 89%. And look at these guys. From the bottom towards the top up here, 90%. Let's go over here, 89%. Okay, 89%. So from this over here consolidation, and from the next dump over here towards the upside, I was using another wick up here. Let me use another wick over here. You know, I find it, there we go. I'm not using the, you know, lowest week, because lowest week is like 96%. So we're gonna use this one because it's nice, 89%. And the latest pump up, guys, how much do you think it is? How much do you think this latest pump is, guys? 90%. So every single time we are having these, you know, 90% pumps, 90% pumps towards upside. I mean, technically this was, you know, 96% pumps. And over here, maybe it's a little bit more. This was actually 100% on the dollar up here, but you know, we're just gonna calculate from over here. We are having 90% pumps every single time, and we're having 20% move. So I thought this was very, very interesting. So considering that we are gonna have at most a 90% pump from the lowest level over here, that means that the target up here is 107k, guys. The target is 107k if we do that move, which I don't think we're gonna do. And the reason is this, and the reason is very, very simple, because as long as we are doing the 90% pumps and 20% dumps, I think we are in a stable trend towards upside. The problem is gonna come when dumps gets lower, so you will have some kind of, you know, 70-60% pump, you know, and the dump is not gonna be 20%, but the dump is gonna be, you know, something like, you know, 30% dumps or something like that. Once you have this change in the pumps and the dumps, so instead of having the 90% pumps or something like that, 80-90% pumps, and you're having less pumps and more dumps, that is pretty much, you know, indication that we are that the trend over here has changed. So we can even, instead of just watching the lines, and we will be watching the lines, if you just look at, you know, how much we pump and how much we dump, we will already know that this trend over here that's been going towards upside has reversed once actually these pumps becomes less and less, and dumps becomes more and more. So I thought actually these 90% pumps were very, very interesting, because this over here, you know, moves you know, 90% every single time. So if you do 90% again move, that's 107k. And then, you know, the question is, are we gonna, you know, pull back 20%, or is it gonna be a bigger pullback and then a smaller pump, and so forth, so forth? How's it gonna be? But right now it does look like, you know, if this becomes the bottom, it is 107k on Bitcoin. It is 107k on Bitcoin. But you know me, and you know the target for our channels and stuff like that, right? So we are still looking at something like over here, this move towards upside up here around 85k, give or take. So I would say 85 all the way up to you know, 107k, give or take. 85, 107k, where is that? There we go, give or take, inside this, those levels up here. Might overshoot this, might undershoot it up here as well. I would say as soon as we break 80k up here, I mean, we are already in some kind of dead zone where, you know, a lot of euphoria might actually kick in. That said, you know, just by going inside these this box towards upside, not actually bad. But if you also see dominance dropping hard, if you also see some other indicators actually being bearish and stuff like that, overextensions and so forth, it's pretty much over once this actually happens. Right now, this consolidation up here, like we said last time, is still, you know, is still playing the way it should be playing out over here. If you look at a weekly time frame, you'll see that the volume exactly up here from the top up here, entire move towards downside, the volume has actually been going towards downside. So the way I see this is only consolidation part. We already went into that liquidity zone that we talked about, the blue box down here. So right now the only thing we have to do is get out. Now the question is, when do we get out? And I gotta be honest, guys, I do not know, I have absolutely no idea how to figure out when stuff will break out and when stuff will go down. Right, so oftentimes you will be in these kind of trends, either uptrend or downtrend, any kind of channel. You will be in some kind of channel, but I don't have any kind of reliable way to figure out when is the time to break out. I mean, when we get close and stuff like that, you know, bounces might, you know, indicate. Once we get close, we might figure out when we're gonna break out. But I'm a little bit unsure whether there is a way to figure out. Like if you're over here, how long this will actually take before you break out. I'm a little bit unsure about that. I don't even think there is a way to figure that out. I think the market actually just goes and, you know, figures by, you know, over time. But maybe there is somebody who knows that, you know, over here we're gonna top out, over here we're gonna break out, or something like that. So I would like to find that out, but I really don't know. Like, well, as soon as we start channeling, like, unless we get some kind of, you know, very, very interesting signs on the chart, it's really hard. Like over here, down here, bottom, once we get into liquidity zone, there were extensions over here when we were pulling back. There was, you know, interesting levels over here on the midline. It's gonna bounce and so forth, so forth. So right now, the way I see Bitcoin over here, this price, I'm a little bit again unsure how this is gonna play out. A little bit up, a little bit down. Mostly, you know, we are just consolidating right now. So we gotta see over the weekend. You know, I think next week might be interesting, but I don't see any kind of, you know, huge dumps or huge pumps right now, because nothing of interest is being broken right now. Even on the small time frames up here, we just had a nice pump up here, but you know, nothing of interest is broken yet. We haven't had any kind of breakage towards upside. We haven't any kind of, you know, dumps towards downside. So the way I see it, maybe over the weekend, just consolidation and so forth, so forth. And remember, 107k, guys, 107k. If you get to 107k or higher, that might be very, very good. So we want bigger pumps. We want bigger pumps. We are bullish. Anyways, guys, that's it. You know, quick and dirty, the Bitcoin Daily. I hope you enjoyed that. You know, only 20 minutes. I don't know if you're gonna look at anything else. DXY, I haven't actually looked at DXY for a while. It's still channeling inside this channel for, you know, been channeling this, you know, way for a while right now. Still hitting tops up here. Do we have anything bearish on over here? I haven't actually looked at it. No, it's just breaking a little bit down. It looks like it wants to go over here towards downside without actually doing an analysis, but it looks like it wants to go a little bit more towards downside. It might actually be nice. So if this actually consolidates over here towards downside and then does a breakage towards downside, Bitcoin just might explode. That's good. That's good. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you around. Take care. Go out. Enjoy the day. It's nice and sunny. And I'll, you know, maybe see you tomorrow. Who knows? Suddenly. Bye-bye.